Morning, guys. So this is it. We found out that we are getting induced this morning. We had a growth scan on Thursday, and basically there was some concerns about how much the baby had grown since our last appointment. So the decision was taken that it was better to get the baby out sooner rather than later. So I'm going to be keeping a diary over the next sort of few days or however long it takes, just to share my experience of what it's like when you're going in for induced labour. I think the thing that I'm most nervous about is I just want to get Lauren and the baby home safe. I think I've watched too many TV dramas and movies where things happen to the mum in labour, but we'll make it through it. We'll be fine. I just want to get everyone home together.
Home for the foreseeable future.
We've been sent out for a bit of a walk around. You had some tests this morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
And essentially, Lauren's felt some tightenings in around sort of her stomach area. They're now keeping an eye. They did speak about doing a pessary, which would basically try and speed things up, but because there are already some low-level contractions, they're not sure whether they actually want to intervene yet. So we've actually just been told basically to go for a walk. Lauren's been doing some curb walking. So
and then they told me to sit on an exercise ball when we get back.
Trying to enjoy a bit of fresh air while we can. Just going to get on the exercise ball and we'll see where we end up next. So Lauren did make the most of her exercise ball before tucking into some hospital food, which was actually pretty good. We then cracked out the entertainment while we waited for her uterus to dilate. We had card games, games on our phones, podcasts, some of which were clearly not entertaining enough for Lauren. We also had some easy watching TV shows downloaded before another round of tests and observations, most of which involved putting hands in places that are not really suited for being on camera unless you have an OnlyFans account. So it's now 6 o'clock. Lauren was last checked up about 4:15. When they looked, they said that her inner cervix had increased to about 2 centimetres, but the outer was still 1 centimetre, so they need her to kind of soften up a little bit more. So they've applied a gel rather than a pessary. The gel is synthetic hormones that are designed to speed things up. We've definitely noticed in the last hour and a half that she's starting to feel things a little bit more. She's saying it feels more like period cramps, but we've probably still got a way to go yet. Our induction inconveniently clashed with England's first game at the Euros, but thankfully I was able to make myself comfortable for it. Stand by for full highlights of the game. Visiting hours stopped at 9 p.m, and so unfortunately we had to say our goodbyes. Back at home, I've been kicked out. Visiting hours are over, so I've been sent back because not a lot's happening with Lauren tonight. It's been a funny old day, to be completely honest. Kind of been lulled into this false sense of security. I was really anxious this morning. I think I mentioned, I was worried about just wanting to get Lauren and the baby home safe. And that still exists. But having spent the day in the hospital, and actually the sorts of things we've done today are go for a walk, play card games, watch the football, really disarmed me. And it's kind of put me back in this weird bubble where actually it almost feels like it's not really happening anymore. It's not been a bad day. It's been a weirdly nice day. I'm going to try and chill out a little bit tonight if I can. I'm sure the next couple of days will be a little bit more difficult. Let's see what happens. So Lauren's just texted me saying she's had her 10 p.m. check, but they think they might be close enough now to be able to break her waters. They're checking on the labour ward to see how busy they are. Now it's a bit of a waiting game. I'm told not to come in yet. I'm just kind of standing here and I'm waiting. Just had another message to say, yeah, it's definitely happening. So Lauren's going to be moving to the labour ward in half an hour. So I've got to go back to the hospital now with a couple of extra bits, and then God knows what's going to happen from there. Fuck, this is happening. So I grabbed a couple of spare bits Lauren asked for and dashed straight back in, only to find that the bed on the labour ward wasn't actually ready, so we just had to sit around and wait. Eventually, about 1 a.m, someone did come to get us and take us over. It was nice to have a private space at last, but then the reality started to set in. We're in, this is the room we're going to have our baby. Lauren then had some more tests before we got the news we've been waiting for. About to get the waters broken. Lauren has now had her waters broken and the pain is starting to up a little bit with the contractions. 3 centimetres dilated, so still a while to go, but yeah, we're definitely making some progress, I think. So it's 3 a.m, we've been told to go for a walk. Lauren to keep stretching and keeping things moving. Lauren's cranked on the TENS machine now. The fatigue's starting to set in a little bit with both of us. It's now about 5:30. Managed to snatch about 10 minutes of sleep at about 4:30. Lauren managed to get about sort of 20 minutes, half an hour. Lauren had another observation at about 5. and she's still only about 3 centimetres dilated. Things are softening in and around her cervix. I have to be honest and say that I did think that getting moved onto the labour ward meant that things might happen a little bit quicker than they are. We're now looking at an oxytocin drip, and that's going to mean stronger and longer contractions for Lauren. So we're now looking at other sources of pain relief. We've now moved on to the gas and air, the Entonox. We've spoken about the possibility of an epidural and stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to start getting a bit more turbulent over the next few hours. Still trying to process the fact that at the end of the day, I could be a father. Whew. Just stepped outside for a minute. I need to get a bit of fresh air. The last couple of hours have been fucking brutal. Pain level has massively ramped up, and yeah, Lauren's really been struggling, but she's been an absolute trooper. She's recently taken the epidural. Hopefully things are going to get better from here. So we're now at the 24-hour mark. They've gone to get some more oxytocin for Lauren to help try and move things along. So fingers crossed. The last couple of hours since the epidural kicked in have been much better, thank God. Still feeling the contractions, but a lot less of the pain, just the pressure. A little bit concerned about the baby's heart rate jumping up and down, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. But yeah, encouraging. We cracked out more snacks to keep us going, and the relief from Lauren's epidural meant she had the headspace to resort to more unorthodox tactics to force the baby out, such as by subjecting it to Love Island. Lauren's just had her latest examination, which was about 2:30. And they said they were hopeful that she might be at around 5 centimetres dilated, and yeah, they've just checked her and she's 9.5 centimetres dilated. So been told literally about an hour, and then it's push time. Oh. Then things got serious. All I could do was be there for Lauren, try my best to keep her cool, and pray that everything would go smoothly. So I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the team. This is baby Lola. She was just 6 pounds, no ounces. So considering we were told that it was a big baby all the way through the pregnancy, actually she's come out perfect and petite. She wasn't very keen on coming out of mummy. So we actually needed a Von 2's delivery, which is like the plungery thing. And she has got a little mark on the back of her head. Don't know how well you can see that. I'll bring her into the camera a little bit. Whoa. But that's meant to go down after a few days, so hopefully there won't be anything sort of long lasting. But both Mummy and Lola were absolutely incredible. All the sort of challenges of labour and everything, when this is the end product, is all worth it. After Lola was safely out, she was taken away to be cleaned and checked over, and Lauren also got the aftercare that she needed before we both had a little bit of skin-to-skin time with her. She was then weighed and some other stuff happened too, but to be honest, that hour after the birth is a bit of a blur to me at this point. Once Lauren was in the clear, we were moved to the postnatal ward before I was kicked out again for the night. I've just got in. I am physically and emotionally spent. I've had about 40 minutes sleep in about 40 hours. And like there were parts of today that were, I think between about 6 and 7:30 a.m. this morning when Lauren was really struggling. I was like, how the hell are we going to get through this? And she was so good. Lauren's being kept in overnight on the postnatal ward. So it's good to know she'll be sort of looked after overnight. I'm going to record another video in the morning where I can actually like make sense. But I guess this is almost like a victory video in the sense of I'm now a dad. I've got a daughter. I went back into hospital partly rejuvenated after a sleep, giddy with excitement to see both of my girls. Lauren needed to be checked and signed off by the consultant, and Lola needed some basic checks for things like her hearing, sight and jaundice levels, and then we could go. Or so we thought. We were told we needed a final sign-off and some information on how to register the birth before we were allowed to be discharged. So we waited, and we waited, and we waited. After a lot of threatening to walk out, we were finally allowed to go home. Well, I was not expecting today to take so long. The consultant came around and saw Lauren at about 12:30, something like that, and was really happy with Lauren's results. So yeah, kind of frustrated not to be able to get home and get back. I need to focus on Lauren and baby Lola tonight, so I'll do the rest of the roundup tomorrow. So it's been a bit of a noisy night. Lola was quite quiet in the hospital, but she was much happier making her feelings known at home. We're pretty exhausted, but we survived. I've now had a bit of a chance to reflect on our experience of induced labour. The most memorable feeling I think I have is that sensation of not being able to help someone you love when they're going through a lot of pain, and I found that really challenging. But when you feel your newborn grip your finger for the first time, or when they scrunch up into a tiny ball and fall asleep on your chest, oh man, pride, relief, hope, and a little bit of vomit in your mouth as you realise that it's now your responsibility to look after this perfectly formed little lump. The most important thing is just to be there and be positive and supportive and hold their hand and just hope they don't break it. I ended up cutting the cord, which was always the plan. We'd put that in our birth preferences. But what I hadn't factored in was that I was meant to stay at the head end all the way through labour because I didn't want to see everything that was going on down there. And then when it came to cutting the cord, I had to see absolutely everything anyway. So it kind of defeated the object. It's worth bearing in mind if you're a bit squeamish. Things I would suggest to anyone going through an induction. Make sure you bring enough entertainment with you for those initial stages while you're waiting for things to happen. This lasted about a day for us, but can be a lot longer. Otherwise, you are going to get bored. Other than being head cheerleader, I also played the role of DJ. Don't underestimate how important that is for creating the right environment and a positive headspace. I prepared some playlists before we went in that we were able to play through a Bluetooth speaker in the labour ward, although I would recommend bringing your own Bluetooth speaker, to be honest, because the one the hospital provided were pretty meh. We had some Zen spa-style music for the downtimes when Lauren was trying to rest, an acoustic, chilled playlist, and then even some upbeat house and even some drum and bass for what it was trying to push. Bring a long phone charging cable, as we found the sockets were miles away from the bed. I'm actually going to do a short video on what we packed versus what we actually needed and what we wish we'd packed, and I'll include a link to that video in the corner when it's ready. Lola struggled with breastfeeding initially, which is really common with new babies, and we'd actually brought some frozen colostrum in with us, and that ended up being a complete lifesaver. So if you are able to do that, we definitely recommend it. Even if you have a relatively straightforward labour process, the postnatal ward section can take a while. We didn't realise how long this bit was going to take, so we packed everything up ready to go. And then while we were waiting, Lola had done a poo, but we'd already packed away all of the nappies and the spare clothes. If someone had just managed our expectations that this bit was going to take so long, I think we would have handled it way better. So this is my gift to you to hopefully be a little bit more prepared. If you've got any other questions you want me to answer about my experience, or perhaps if you want to share your experiences of induced labour, please hit me up in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please do give it a like, as it really helps the algorithm put it in front of more new dads-to-be who are perhaps about to go through this experience. I'm going to be making a load more content as I try and navigate early parenthood, so please subscribe to this channel to find out how me and Lauren manage trying to keep Lola alive in the months ahead. As always, thanks for watching.